Hey, what's up, y'all? This is AWTM, and I want to talk to you today about rejection being God's protection. So, when I was around 19, I met this guy, and when I say this guy was fine, he was fine. Like, he was like tall, he was brown skin, he had the fade, he had a nice car, he dressed nice and smelled good. He was a couple of years older than me. He might have been 21 or something like that, but he was really, really fine. And so fine that all the girls like kind of wanted this guy or whatever, and he liked me. So I just felt like I was in there. Like I was like over the moon with it because, I like him, he liked me. And the one time that I did get to spend with him, like we were kind of like all over each other, hugged up. People thought we were already a couple because this is how it was. Like, have you ever met somebody that you can't keep your hands off of them and they can't keep their hands off of you? It was that kind of thing. And it was just great. So going on, we were supposed to do things. Like we would make plans to go on a date, spend some time together, things like that. And for some reason, those plans would always fall through. Not only just on his end, on my end too. So, for instance, we would plan to do something on Friday, and Thursday night would come up, and all of a sudden, he has to go out of town and he can't cancel this, and I can't go with him because I have to work, or something would happen with me where we would end up not meeting up. It just was crazy. It was like no matter how many times he tried to make plans, these plans would never follow through. We could never follow through with our plans because something came up, and it wasn't something like, oh, it's a lie, it's an excuse or anything like that. It was really real situations or real life situations that happened that caused us not to be able to see each other. So I was getting to the point to where I'm like, okay, now I'm going to take control. I'm going to start trying to, initiate some things like, oh, I'm going to call you, where you at? I'm going to pop up, I'm going to see you, those kind of things. And those things didn't work out either. So I'm like, dang, like I really like this guy. Like it just was something about it and I can't explain it. Like I felt a connection to him already and I didn't even know him. And that was like one of the only times in my life that I have felt like that. Even now, being much older, like I still haven't felt like that about a person when I'm first around them, like to where I just feel safe and comfortable and like we were supposed to be around each other. I just can't explain it. So I was becoming more and more frustrated with the situation, and he was as well. It wasn't just me, it wasn't one sided. So we were talking, we would still talk like almost every day. We would still make sure we talked. But the seeing each other thing, I was actually in school and working at that time, and he was doing whatever he was doing at the time as well. So I guess a few days went by that I didn't hear from him, and I'm like, dang, where is he at? And I called him. Like, I'm not a person that's going to call a man like that because I feel like if a man really wants you, he's going to pursue you, and that's how it's always been. I'm kind of old school, and I may be wrong for that, but that's just what it is. So I was a person that went out. Like, I went out to clubs. I was in the streets. Like I was outside. I'm 19, I'm young, I'm wild, I'm free, whatever, okay? Not free like that. I wasn't messing with a lot of people, but I was outside. So I ended up being out somewhere and I saw one of his homeboys or whatever. And I didn't even check his demeanor. I'm just like, oh, I'm finna go ask him, where is so and so at? I'm gonna say so and so because I don't want to say no names, but I'm gonna say where so and so at, So that's in my mind. I'm just happy that I see somebody that's connected to him because I have not heard from him. So I see him and I'm like, hey, what's up? What's going on? And he was like, man. And he just looked down at the ground. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's up? Where your boy at? And he was like, they took him out 3 days ago. And I'm like, what? Like my whole world was kind of crushed, like shattered. Like I could not believe this had happened. Like, and I really, really, y'all don't understand. I really like this dude. Like, and I know he liked me too or whatever. And it was just crazy. But thinking back on that situation and on multiple situations in my life, that if we had been spending time together and been around each other, I would have felt more feelings for him. We would have got closer and I would have been more crushed. And also thinking about that situation, I would have been around him a lot more. And what if I was around when this happened? Because he was not the only person that was injured during this situation. So I could have been there. So when I say that rejection is God's protection, I mean that. You know, sometimes we can want something or want someone so bad that we can't see everything else that's going around. And that's when God is there to protect us. And that's when sometimes things don't work out the way that we want them to work out. And we get upset and we get frustrated. But I've learned as I've gotten older and more mature to realize that when certain things don't work out, they are not meant to. You're not meant to be in that situation. Maybe that's not the job for you. Maybe that's not the home for you. Maybe that's not the car for you. Maybe this is not happening in this time because if it did, something detrimental might happen. So when things don't work out for you in your life the way that you want them to, sit back and understand that God is always working in your favor. The universe, whatever you believe in, is working in your favor. So don't go against that. Don't try to make things happen or force things to happen that are not happening naturally in your life because God could be protecting you from harm's way. So in the future, take rejection as redirection. Maybe there's another path you should be taking. Maybe there's something else you should be doing. Maybe there's another home you should be looking at. A different kind of car that you should be looking at. Maybe that job, that wasn't the job for you. So take rejection as redirection and realize that most of the time it's God's protection.